kind of a big deal.
He could go all the way.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here? Hello, boys! I'm back!
Everybody get up.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the BS Report. John Stanker here with Kevin Bartnett in the bottom of La Penta here in WICR. How you doing this fine evening, Kevin?
I'm smiling big. We finally won a game.
Yes, you
We
did.
finally won a game. Feels phenomenal.
You beat the Minnesota Vikings. How does that make you feel?
You know what? Feels me feel good that we held that stud Adrian Peterson to do nothing.
Yeah. All right. You want to delve right into the Giants game?
Yeah, why not?
I have a big problem with the Giants taking so much credit for the win. I'm just saying that the Minnesota coaching staff basically handed you that victory.
Why?
Because they let Josh Freeman throw the ball 53 times. His second week with the team, no way he knows the entire playbook. They let him throw the ball 53 times.
53 times. I agree.
He threw for less than 200 yards, and he threw the ball 53 times.
I agree that that's very absurd, obviously. I couldn't agree more. But at the same time, the Giants held Adrian Peterson to what, like 56 yards rushing?
Oh,
That's
that's
not
28 yards rushing.
28 yards. Even better. I thought he had 28 carries. They must have misread it. That's not a fluke when you hold Adrian Peterson to 28 yards. You don't do that by design. On any given play, he can run for 28 yards.
No. Okay, I'm not going to let the Giants got the win. Congratulations. You beat a team whose offense looked on par with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, no, it's horrible. Don't get me wrong. Josh Freeman was dreadful. And I can't believe he threw the ball 53 times. But I'm giving the Giants credit because you hold Adrian Peterson to 28 yards, no matter how bad. Christian Ponder was a terrible quarterback last year. They made the playoffs because of Adrian Peterson. Because Adrian Peterson had a good game every single game.
He only carried the ball 13 times.
He had his worst game in 2 years because they only gave him the ball.
The coach never gave him the ball
13 times. Well, because they were down the whole game, they had to throw the ball.
It doesn't matter. Adrian Peterson should run the Wildcat every single play for Minnesota, and they'd have a better chance of winning than letting a quarterback throw the ball.
I give them credit big time for stopping Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson last year could have run for 13 carries. He probably could have had almost 100 yards last year for having 13 carries in a game. He would have been close to 100 yards on for his averages, the way he's been playing the last 2 years especially.
Listen, the Giants got the win. Congratulations. You are now
but they get no credit for stopping Adrian
I'm sorry, you beat
yards?
Minnesota. You're still in my bottom 5 of power rankings in the NFL because you beat Minnesota.
They're 1-6. Okay, they're 1-6. They're not a good football team. I'm just thrilled because they stopped the great big bad Adrian Peterson. That's why. You can knock them all you want. People, I know you're not a Giants fan. You hate giving them credit. People hate giving Giants credit.
I give you credit when you deserve it. I just don't think that your defense should be saying we stopped AP.
It was an ugly game. You don't hear me. Like, I mean, I'm thrilled that we actually won a game. That's why. Mm-hmm. You don't hear me saying we're going to the playoffs now or anything.
Oh, God, please no.
I'm not like that. Don't get me wrong in that department, okay? I mean, the division is so bad, after all, we couldn't know what could happen. I'm just kidding, obviously. But we'll get to that.
See what happens when you guys face the Eagles next week.
Big game. Big game, it really is. But when you hold this big, bad AP all-day Peterson, seriously, to 28 yards rushing, that's a good performance on any level.
It's
just because Freeman couldn't throw the ball.
You can't give all the credit to the defense. You can't. You have to give some credit to how bad the play calling was from Minnesota when you only hand the ball off to AP 13 times. Out of the 20 plays that are always planned out at the start of every NFL game, 15 of those should be handing it off to AP. That's the way Minnesota should run their offense because they have nobody else.
All right, Stanko, let's see if you agree with this, though. 13 yards, though, on any given play. Peterson could run double the run total on any given play of those 13 carries.
Yes, I agree.
He's more than capable of that.
Yes, I agree.
So
He's
the
more
fact
than
that they
capable
actually stopped him to 28 yards on 13 carries, they held to barely over 2 yards a carry. What does he average in the last 2 years? 5 to 6 yards a carry?
It doesn't matter because he only carried the ball 13 times. Yes, you stopped him.
He was not having a good game,
You
though.
stopped him 13 times. That's because Minnesota didn't let him have a good game. Sometimes a running back's got to get warmed up.
Well, okay, first off, the Giants, if you don't remember, had the ball from, like, in the 6 minutes left to go in the third quarter. They held the ball with 13 and a half to go.
Yeah.
They had that ball. And then they had They had the 16-point lead.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't run the ball in the fourth quarter, really, very much. I think he had one carry in the fourth quarter because they were down by 16 points. I don't care how bad your quarterback's playing, you're going to have to throw the football. You have to throw the football if you're down by that many points in the fourth quarter. Maybe if they got a score. Freeman was awful. I couldn't agree more. But
he had 16 overthrown balls. 16 overthrown balls.
He was dreadful. He was dreadful, and I am not saying that. I'm not saying he played decent on any level because that may have been the worst quarterback performance I've seen since Ryan Lindley against the Jets last year.
Okay, now, all right. I want Adrian Peterson. We can agree is the best running back in the NFL.
Yes, absolutely.
Best running back in the NFL.
Yes.
The Minnesota only got him 15 touches. 15. That's it.
Yeah, he should get more.
He should get at least 25.
He should get more.
At least
He
25.
should. I'm not disputing that. I really am not. But he did not have a good game, and I give the Giants credit.
He didn't
for
have a
that.
chance to have a good game when he only touched the ball 15 times.
Oh, that's more than most running backs have in a game nowadays. You put him on Green Bay, he'll never get the ball. All they'll do is have him run screens.
Well, that's the thing. AP is your best offensive weapon, and they only got him 15 touches. I'm saying the Giants.
In the second half, though, they could not. I'm sorry to call you. In the second half, they can't give him the ball though because they were
throw
down
him
by
a
so
screen
much.
pass.
They did. They tried. He got nothing.
He only caught 2 passes. You can't say they tried when he only was targeted 4 times.
They did try. I'm telling you, they did try. The Giants always had people on.
He was only targeted 4 times.
Stanko, I watched every play of every game.
Freeman should have just thrown 3.
I watched,
passes.
and he fumbled at the end of the game too. But the Giants didn't challenge it because they were going to win. If you don't realize, he also fumbled too
Well,
at the end.
he has a fumble problem. He's a great running back, but he does have a fumble
He did
problem.
fumble at the end of the game too.
Well, so did Peyton Hillis.
Oh, he fumbled way in the beginning of the game though, but he picked it up, and the Giants actually recovered it. But
He
who cares?
recovered his own fumble.
Peyton Hillis did, yes. Peyton Hillis, who would have thought in the world he would have had 5 catches for 45 yards?
Exactly. Where did that go? He had a better game than AP because the Giants let him have a better game because they actually trusted him with the ball.
They had to trust him with the ball because they were up by 16 points. They had to kill the clock.
No,
they had to do it, and they have to do it because they don't have any other
The
running
Giants
backs.
deserve partial credit for the win. Partial credit also goes to the awful coaching in Minnesota.
I'm not disputing that Minnesota should have had a better game plan. I'm just thrilled that it's when you hold Adrian Peterson to 28 yards, and no matter how many carries he gets that are more than 10 yards, he got more than 10 carries. He had double-digit carries, and you hold him to 28 yards on double-digit carries. That's you're doing something right.
You did something right for
You're
that
doing
amount of time.
something right.
But the offensive coordinator whoever's calling the plays for Minnesota has to know that 13 carries, he can bust one open. Why didn't they feed him the ball more often? Freeman when you're throwing on first down in your Minnesota, you're doing something wrong.
Usually by the 13th carry, Peterson has a big run by then. He does. That's a fact. Usually by the time he has 13 carries, he has big runs by then.
Is there any stat to prove that?
I wish there was, honestly. But
I mean,
we're just going on general knowledge. Like the first carry of the year he had was a 78-yard touchdown. Yeah.
that was his highlight of the year so far.
Yeah. I mean, he maybe not in the best state right now, obviously because of the tragic death of his son. He may not be in the best state, but
I mean, but
I'm sorry. I'll let you finish your point. Actually, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's just that I can't. Again, the Giants fans, you're happy and good for you. Your offense played fine too. Eli Manning didn't throw an interception.
Thank God.
First time this season, right? He didn't throw an interception.
Yeah, absolutely.
First time this season. He only threw the ball for 200 yards. He only averaged 5 yards a throw. But I mean, that was what you guys needed to do to win. But I mean, I can't listen. The Giants fans are happy. Giants defense deserves some credit, but also some credit goes to Minnesota and their coaching staff for being.
They're not a
having
good
an awful
football
game
team.
plan.
It's that simple. I think they're going back to Ponder, honestly. I think they should go back to Ponder.
No, they already announced him. He's starting next week.
Ponder?
No, Freeman.
Really? That's not a good
Leslie
move.
Frazier already announced
Not
it.
a good move because honestly, like if you game plan with Ponder, that means you give the ball to AP more. If that should be the smart game plan, that really is. Freeman's not cut out for the system, I don't think.
I mean, Freeman's not cut out for anything. Chris Carter this morning absolutely laid into Josh Freeman. Said he should be cut from the Minnesota Vikings. Said he shouldn't be a quarterback on any team. Nothing.
Also, I really don't like Chris Carter as an analyst. I really don't. I don't think he's very smart. I think he thinks just as he played the game that he's like so much smarter than everybody, which is I disagree with because most NFL GMs did not play the game.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't like pros or anything, so he thinks just because he played the game, he's a great talent evaluator. No, I don't really like Chris Carter as a. So I wouldn't take what he says seriously. If it was someone like Trent Dilfer who was smart, then I would. But
Trent Dilfer also laid into him on Monday night after the game.
Trent Dilfer did. But Trent Dilfer is logical and he backs his stuff up. Chris Carter just speaks in. If you haven't realized by now, I'm not very a fan of many ESPN analysts, honestly. I'm really not. I mean, they have smart guys like Ditka and...
I don't like Ditka.
Their best hire was Bill Polian.
Bill Polian is fantastic.
That was their best hire.
He's fantastic.
Because he knows what he's doing. That's why. He did it like he knows what he's doing. So, and obviously they have guys like Schefter, but, you know...
I don't like Ditka. I'm surprised you like Ditka. I don't like him.
I think Ditka brings an old school feel to it. That's him and Tom Jackson bring like the old school into it, like into like the very new school.
I don't mind Tom Jackson, but Ditka to me, he always speaks in 2 sentences. He never like goes in depth. He's just like, this is what's gonna happen and this is why, and I'm done.
Huh. Yeah, but that's just his style, I would assume. Though I mean, they said he was like that a lot as a coach. Obviously, he just got his point across. He does get his point across very quickly as an analyst.
Very, very succinct. Very succinct indeed.
Yeah. I mean, we probably don't want to know what he was saying in the locker room when he was the coach of the Bears, but
probably
yeah,
not mission consistent with Iona College Radio.
Right. Well, all right, that does that on the Giants. But there was another game being played in MetLife Stadium on Sunday. You must have been so high, Stanko, after the Red Sox won on Saturday night to go to the World Series. And then the Patriots. Lay it on me, Stanko. Lay it on me.
All right, my take on the game is this. The first half, the Patriots dominated. I think we can both agree the first half belonged to New England. Their defense played really well. The second half belonged to the Jets. They took the second half, and the game went into overtime. Let's get into overtime, shall we?
Yes. Can I make one thing, though, just before we get into overtime?
What's that?
Tom Brady did not play good at all in the second half.
No, Geno Smith outplayed Tom Brady in the second half. I'm not going to deny it.
I cannot. I mean, I was shocked. He was overthrowing people very much.
I agree.
And
I'm not
you
going to
can't
deny
pin this game on the receivers whatsoever. Many times he's been cut in slack.
Except for in the second half when Rob Gronkowski missed the ball because he lost it in the sun.
Oh, yes, that's true.
That was a perfect throw, and he's just like...
Gronk almost bailed him out and bailed Brady's bad throw.
That one-handed grab...
That would have been the catch of the year.
I jumped up, and I was like, oh, my... No!
That would have been the catch of the year if he caught that. He jumped over a guy, and he would have caught it with one hand. He almost bailed. That was a bad throw by Brady.
It was a bad throw by Brady.
He made a lot of bad throws. I was like, I mean, I'm not saying it's a sign of bad things to come, but... You can't pin this one on the receivers.
No, I'm not. No, Brady did not play well in the second half. Geno Smith outplayed him in the second half. I'm not going to deny that.
All right, now let's go to overtime, definitely.
But overtime, Patriots get the ball. They don't do anything with it. Jets get it, and they march down the field, and they get stalled on a 56-yard field goal attempt. Everyone knows 56-yard field goals. It's a long-range field goal. Nick Folk has not made above a 50-yarder this entire season. His season high was 48.
He made every single field goal, though.
He has made every single field, but 56 yards, that's a task even Janikowski would have trouble with. Or Legatron.
Huh.
But, so he kicks it. It goes wide left.
It was. I thought it was good for a second, actually.
It was. Yesterday they went and then started swerving.
That penalty.
And then there's his penalty. There's his penalty flag on the ground. And I look at the play. They show replays of it when the refs are discussing, and I don't see a penalty.
I don't know why it's called unsportsmanlike conduct.
We'll get to that. And then I was watching with my friend Mike Ritz, Steve Colzo. They're like, Mike Ritz is like, I don't see a penalty. Steve's a Jets fan, so he's like, oh my god. But I'm like, we don't see a penalty. And then they call this unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on number 74 of New England for pushing a lineman forward. And then, therefore, that's safety hazard, so it's a penalty on New England for putting the offensive lineman in safety. That's why the NFL made that rule.
What I looked up to is, I went to Mike Pereira on Twitter right away, and Mike Pereira is probably, been one of the best hires in television.
He's very, very good on Twitter.
I mean, of course, whenever the Giants seems like have a call, it seems like he says he goes against Giants, but that's the way it seems. He's very good, though.
He is very, very good.
He said that was the correct call, but he says, in reality, if he was still... I forgot what his exact job was. I believe he was like vice president or something, president of the refs or something. If he was still that, he would have denied that rule because that play had literally nothing to do with missing the kick.
Point
it's
exactly.
One thing if Christian Jones pushes him and it uses enough force where the guy there
can block it,
and he blocks it and it affects that.
Exactly.
That's one thing.
Exactly.
It had nothing to do with that.
Exactly.
Apparently that was the correct call.
I'm not denying that it's a penalty based off the rule. I'm not denying it's a penalty. I'm not going to say, they just made the wrong call, because they made the right call.
But it's a stupid
call.
My
problem is
it's a stupid rule.
You make that call for literally the first time in NFL history. That call is made.
Yes,
you make it in overtime.
I believe it's Jerome Boger to call it, too.
Yeah, in overtime. in a division game with rivals, you call that penalty. In my mind, that's like calling a tic-tac foul in the last seconds of a basketball game to give the winning free throws to the other team. That's exactly what
Bill
went through my
Belichick
mind.
is known for. He doesn't show a lot of emotion. On
Oh, he was
sideline.
pissed.
And he was livid. He was livid.
He was pissed. And listen, again, it's a penalty, but you do not call that type of penalty in that spot in the game. You don't do it. You don't let penalties dictate the game. That goes for any sport. Basketball, we see it all the time with a late foul that's controversial. If it's not blatant, you don't call it. Nobody would have noticed that penalty if the ref didn't draw attention to it. Nobody. They just circle it on the TV for them to see it.
You know, I wouldn't have been shocked if they wanted the Jets to win this game, the ref, honestly. To maybe keep this tight. The Jets hadn't beaten the Patriots since we were freshmen in college.
Mm-hmm. And it's been great.
It's been great. But there's something's a little fishy here, because why would you call that now and then they basically gave the Jets the game?
They did.
And I'm not taking anything away, because the kid's Geno Smith. I mean, how anybody
Listen,
would think
he was impressive.
how
was
anybody
very
could think
impressive.
that Sanchez had a chance? Would think they were better off with Sanchez compared to Geno Smith.
I don't know.
My father pointed this out to me. You know who's not getting enough credit for the Jets?
Who's that?
At all? Marty Morningweg.
Yes.
Marty Morningweg,
Yes.
the offensive coordinator. He was
Yes.
a long-time coordinator with Andy Reid.
They're
in
actually throwing the
Philadelphia.
ball more than 20 yards down the field.
He has done wonders with Geno Smith. I think Geno Smith is going to be. I won't say he's going to be a star. He's going to be a very capable
I
quarterback.
see him as like
probably.
an Andy Dalton type of
He
quarterback
does
right
the
now.
rookie mistakes, obviously, but he's been impressive in a lot.
I see him on the pathway of like an Andy Dalton.
He's what I'm impressed by him because he's fast, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
He's a smart runner, though. He's not like Kaepernick or Russell Wilson, where they just run whenever
Or
they want.
RG3, yeah.
Or RG3 when they can just run whenever they want. He's a smart runner. He only runs when he has to run, or it's necessary.
His
to run.
pocket presence did impress me at the time because the Patriots had good outside pressure all game long. They were collapsing that pocket, but he was stepping up.
How anybody could think that Sanchez, though, they were better off with Sanchez over Geno Smith.
I have no idea.
Geno Smith has won a couple of games for the Jets. His legs won him the game in Tampa Bay, because it allowed Levante David to make that bonehead play.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Atlanta. He did wonders in Atlanta.
Yep.
And I think he actually played. He was the reason why
He
the
outplayed
Jets
Brady.
won.
He did outplay Brady, but the reason the Jets won this game is because of that penalty. That is the Jets. The Jets missed that 56-yarder. Patriots would have gotten the ball. I believe it would have
Great
been
field
like
position.
like the 45-yard line or something like that, and we're 20 yard or 30 yards. We're in field goal range.
You know what? I think that. I still think the Patriots, honestly, were the better team. I think one bad throw by Brady, and then Antonio Allen made it. That was a great play by Antonio Allen. The pick six.
Oh yes,
The pick
yes.
six. Geno, Geno did make a bad throw, obviously, which Logan Ryan ran it back to the house. So,
Yep.
It was a very good game. It was a very good football game.
It was the most entertaining game besides the Sunday night game, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not angry that we got gypped off a penalty because it was the right call. I'm just angry at the way we lost that game because frankly we might have deserved to lose that game, but it's the way we lost it.
I thought the
that makes me
Patriots should have
so
won.
angry.
Honestly, I thought they should have won.
I mean, listen, it can go either way. It was a very evenly played game, especially in the second. I mean, Patriots owned the first half, Jets owned the second half. Overtime, it was best 2 out of 3. Whoever wins the periods wins. But I mean, it baffled my mind that they would make that call at that time, and the Jets tipped them off to it too. It was reported that they warned the refs that the Patriots do this.
Yeah, so I was just reading this article
Yes.
right, like a couple of minutes ago. Actually.
Now, like credit goes to the Jets coaching staff for pointing that out because if you knew that rule, I mean, good for you because I mean that's good coaching. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, I know other coaches do it too, so it's not cheating or anything because every coach goes to the refs and say, "Oh, you should watch out for
Leave
this."
it to Rex Ryan to make a fuss about it. Though.
Exactly. The thing is that
He was probably so tired of losing to the Patriots.
there is a video of a Jets player doing that exact same play earlier in the game. And if you go to other games, Boston Barstool has been putting up GIFs of the same play with the same thing happening in other games that are not just the New England Jets game.
Yeah.
It's just, listen, it's a penalty. I guarantee you that penalty gets called now way more often.
A lot of times, what's a penalty? You know, it's a rule. It's a penalty if you push your own player forward. So every time a running back's trying to get in the end zone and line and push him in, it's a penalty. Trying to push him in.
Is that really a penalty?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a penalty.
I didn't know that.
Remember the Bush push against USC Notre Dame?
Oh,
That
yeah.
Should have been a penalty in Reggie Bush. You're not allowed to do that, but.
Well, I mean, listen, that penalty is now going to be called so much more often because it's got the attention, so coaches are going to be,
It's like the
look
tuck
for that,
rule,
look for that,
Like
look
the
for that,
tuck
look for
rule.
that, exactly. And whoever says the Patriots don't get a penalty called against them now is crazy. Because that, I mean, listen, that's the most ridiculous penalty so far this season. Hands down. At that point in the game.
Yeah, I agree.
I
really agree.
was irate, but I stayed silent because I was in the Heinz Athletic Center, so I could not be loud and boisterous. So I just colored myself in a hoodie and just went on my laptop and just went and started doing homework to relieve
I would have
stress.
been
and was like,
outraged.
this needs
I
to
would have
stop,
been
this needs to
outraged.
stop.
I really would have been outraged. All right, but anyway, that does that for the Giants and Jets. Now, anyway, on to the most talked about game this past Sunday.
Well, let's take a break first, then we'll go into that
You want to
game.
take a break? You want to take
Let's
a break?
take a break first. I need to relieve some tension in my voice because I'm still very...
You can do that, Stanko.
All right, we're going to take a short break here on WICR. This is the BS Report with John Stanko and Kevin Barnett. We'll be right back after this short music break.